How much snow you got on the ground?
None. How about you?
We just got a couple inches last night.
Couple inches.
First time.
Yeah. Are you dreaming of a white Christmas? Welcome into another edition of Snob versus Douche. He's the Snob, and I'm the Douche. Today we're doing another of our series of 2x2. This is where each of us selects two albums that were recently released, and then force the other person to listen to them, and then we come together and argue over, our thoughts on those two albums, and then we'll also briefly be discussing some other Q4 of 2024 highlights and lowlights. Yes.
You got it.
How are you doing?
Doing okay. I am happy that we're at the end.
Yeah.
I listened to, or I reviewed over 200 records this year. That is the most I've ever reviewed. I was at such a breakneck pace with it that I hardly even listened to the ones I liked all that much. I would just review them, move on, so I'm happy to sort of have a little bit of a break, sort of reset for next year. How about you?
Yeah, I'm glad it's a little bit of a break here. The 2x2 albums here, I didn't even listen to those until this week. So okay. I listened to them throughout this week. So none of these four albums are in my top list because I didn't listen to them yet. And I spent 2 weeks working on my my silly and year-end list. So
your top
and now
one
I probably won't until pretty much the second half of January. It's pretty much nothing as far as I'll probably be on break, so to speak.
Yeah, I need to figure out a way to cut through the bullshit, get to the good stuff quicker, and stop spending so much time on, listening to stuff that I would never enjoy anyway. So I'm gonna try to focus up this next year because I just can't keep that pace up, with my job. So I don't know how anyone can. So
all right, let's just jump into our 2x2 discussion. We'll start off with one that I selected. This is fairly hotly anticipated solo debut release from Kim Deal, just titled Nobody Loves You More. I guess this album was 10 years in the making. Kim Deal, of course, from the Pixies, the Breeders, the Amps. A lot of people know and love Kim Deal. Yeah, what did you think of this album by Kim Deal? Nobody Loves You More.
Yeah, I found it to be certainly better than the last two Breeders records. Enjoyed it quite a bit more than that, but that's not saying much because I didn't really like those very much at all. In general, it fell a little flat for me. I like a handful of the songs. I'm a little confounded by the amount of attention that it has gotten, and the fact that it landed on so many end of the year best of lists, because I don't hear it. But then again, 10 years in the making, people love Kim Deal. They've been, anticipating or waiting for decent, music from her for a very long time. So I think it's that and just the timing of its release, certainly. What about you?
Yeah, so I'm probably kind of with you a little bit. The album kind of spans a variety of styles as it goes through. There's a lot of interesting arrangements. It's kind of a diverse set of songs. I like the imagery and the lyricism from Kim Deal, of course. I think that there's a lot of the songs I like, but I think as an album that plays out, the second half is not as good as the first half, although I think the last song might be the best song on the album.
I have to look.
I also was a little bit perplexed to see how highly this is being featured. I only started looking at year-end lists this week.
Okay.
And I've seen it on many.
Yeah.
Very high up. I definitely don't think it's bad. I think it's a good album. I just don't know that I think it's as good as that, or as good as it's, faring. But again, I had not listened to this until this week. I actually didn't even listen to any of the singles that were pre-released. So I listened to it fresh as a full album.
Sure.
Several times this week. And yeah, good. I think it's a good album.
It's like a 3.25 out of 5.
It's a 3.25 for you.
Yeah. Next pick is my first pick, which is the Belair Lip Bombs. Album is called Lush Life. It's out on Third Man Records. They are a female-fronted indie rock 4-piece from Melbourne. They are named after a type of skateboard wheel. If you're confused by the name there. Specific to skateboarding. Technically, this album was self-released back in 2023, so it's a bit of a cheat for me. But Third Man picked them up this year and gave their debut album a proper worldwide release back this October. How'd you feel about this one?
So I think that I actually did listen to this. Maybe I'm
back
wrong.
in 2023.
Yeah, because I feel like I read a review that was very positive.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but anyway, so this is kind of like power pop punk, has surf elements.
Yep.
I think that Maisie Everett, that's the lead vocalist, it's very kind of a unique vocal style. I think I'm in the minority in that I don't particularly. I think this is a decent record, but overall, it doesn't really do much for me. I don't hate it, don't love it. Fairly indifferent on it, and I don't know if it's because of that vocal style that just doesn't work for me. I don't know. Okay. You like the vocals?
I enjoy her delivery. It's certainly unique. I mean, it's just, for me, it's just another high quality release from our friends at Third Man Records. Yep. Because I know you're a huge fan. Great energy, a lot of great tunes. Remind me of a heavier Always at certain points, or maybe another Australian band called the Beths, which was one of my favorites from the previous year. I dug it. It's good stuff.
That's interesting. It's interesting because I don't really hear any of that.
You don't? Okay.
Those comparisons. So I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the right
blinded
place
by your hate for Jack White is the question.
No. That doesn't have anything to do with it.
Okay. All right. Just checking in. Okay.
Okay, so up next, this is another one of my choices. This is the British indie kind of legends around since I think the late 80s, early 90s. Saint Etienne released, I think it's their 12th studio album called The Night. It's kind of understated ambient noise with Sarah Cracknell's great vocals. I assume that you hated this. Am I right?
You know me well. Yeah, I did not. I was not into it. I actually only listened to it.
I didn't pick it thinking that.
No, I know. I
picked it before I heard it.
Yeah, I know that you weren't picking it just to irritate me. I know you were a fan too. So yeah, I only listened to it once all the way through, and which I usually wouldn't do, but it's just not my cup of tea. Nothing for me to latch onto here. Anything with the buzzword ambient, I'm out. It's just not something I'm going to spend my time on. To me, ambient music it's just like high quality massage music. I don't need it in my life.
Okay.
How did you feel about it from a fan?
I liked it. I also liked the last album, which is somewhat along these. It's fairly along these lines. This is one where I don't think a lot of people that watch this will like this. Okay. I think the kind of people that would appreciate this the most, consider themselves like to only listen to serious music. I feel like this kind of falls into that, but they probably won't give this a chance because it's Saint Etienne, who are most well known for more of a pop sound than what these are.
Yep.
But anyways, I also did look this morning. It's quite highly rated, but like critically, it's quite critically
again. Acclaimed. Yeah, I saw it hit some best of lists.
I didn't see. Well, I haven't looked at a lot of best of lists, but yeah. Anyway, I think that this is an album you need to give your full attention to. You have to listen to it more than once. I think a lot of people won't have the patience for it. I think a lot of people that would listen to this expecting the first two, like the sound of the early Saint Etienne albums, would be many would I think be turned off by this and the previous album. I've liked most of what they've done throughout the years to varying degrees.
Am I hallucinating that there was only vocals on only a handful of tracks?
I think there's vocals on most of the tracks. Some of them are spoken, though.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, I really like. I'm very fond of Sarah Cracknell's voice.
Sure.
Like I can listen to her read the Upstate New York Yellow Pages.
Sure.
Kind of from the 2025 edition of the Upstate New York Yellow Pages.
And only that one.
Yeah.
She has a couple solo records, right? I feel like I've listened to or maybe even reviewed one of them, and I didn't hate it.
Like recently?
No, back in the olden days.
All the places that you go and the people that you know, the hearts you're gonna break and the friends you're gonna make. It's hard to let you go, but I knew it would be so. Fly away.
All right, so my second pick is a band called Trust Fund. They have an album out called Has It Been a While, and it is out on I don't even know how to say this, Tapete.
I say Tapete, but I don't know. Tapete? I could be saying it's German.
Okay. As far as I could tell, this is their fifth full length record, and fifth full length record from this band, which is essentially just the vehicle for Sheffield, UK singer-songwriter Ellis Jones, who has been releasing music under this name, this moniker, since 2015. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I love this one. This is probably the album that I like the most out of these four. If I'm being honest, this is I had heard. I believe I've only ever listened to one album
Okay.
by Trust Fund, and I think that was probably the last one from 2018. But again, I could be wrong. But my recollection is this is a lot different. This is more like a folky chamber pop type album that you cannot not hear or not make comparisons to Nick Drake.
Okay.
It's very, very Nick Drake-esque. String arrangements, horns. There's a female vocalist, Celia McDougall, from the band Radiant Heart. When she's present, like every side that she's on is elevated in my opinion.
Song. Yeah.
Really good. So yeah, she does vocals. I think she also maybe I think she might do some of the string arrangements or something else. I might be wrong. But anyway, yeah, I really dug it. I usually do listen to at least sample the releases that Tapete Records puts out, but this one, for some reason, I had not even sampled. So I've not listened to this until this week. Yeah, it's like I say, I was very impressed by this. Fans of Nick Drake and that kind of thing, which I think a lot, it's certain people. Like early Bell and Sebastian comes to mind also. That it's a little bit fey, I would say. Or maybe a little twee, perhaps, would be another way to say it.
Sure.
But yeah, I liked it. I assume since you selected it that you liked it.
Yeah, it was a nice little surprise for me. I didn't know them or really anything from the record company. And just kind of listened to it on a lark. But after years of sort of willfully ignoring quieter, sadder music, I found myself being drawn back to what I used to call sad bastard music, and I would put this under in that grouping.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's this was one of the better sort of folkier records that I stumbled onto this past year. Reminded me of some of the sort of folky indie pop from the late 2000s, or I'm sorry, early 2000s, like Kings of Convenience or Kingsbury Manx. I mean, both of those are, again, heavily influenced by Nick Drake.
Bands with Kings. Kings.
Exactly. It probably doesn't measure up to any of the albums on my top 20. It was kind of close, but very good. High quality stuff here. Handful of really great tunes on it. Those first two are really great. So yeah, I dug it.
I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that you selected it so that I didn't completely pass me by, which it probably could have.
Yeah, I mean, this year, like I said, a little over 200 albums. And I feel like there was probably another 50 that I could have dug into and actually enjoyed. A lot of good music out there if you have the time to pay attention. Yeah. So who do you want to go first for the Q4 rundown? You want to go first or should I?
I'm going to let you go, and I'm just going to, I don't really have,
okay.
I'm going to add or comment upon yours.
Yeah.
So we'll keep this one relatively brief, but let's see how it goes. I always say it's something like that, and then it turns out to be half an hour.
All right. Well, so I just want to sort of highlight some of the other stuff I've been listening to this past quarter. I started out with usually some disappointments. This time around, the new Phantogram record came out. It's called Memory of a Day. I've been a fan of them for a really long time. It's out on Neon Gold, Virgin Records. Just a few decent songs on this one. Pretty disappointing overall. We also, another album that I was excited for, but ultimately disappointed, the Smashing Times, Mrs. Ladyship, and the Cleanerhouse Boys on Perennial and K. I think we did a 2x2 where we covered the previous that I really liked. This one it just completely fell flat for me.
Yeah, I don't think that we did 2x2 with this, but we may have
Really?
talked about it. We may have
Maybe.
talked with the last one, but we may have talked about it
Yeah.
in detail. I like the previous one way more than this one. So yeah, I would agree.
Yep. And lastly, for disappointments, the Coward Brothers, self-titled record out of New West Records, is a collaboration. It's a new collaboration between Elvis Costello, who I'm a huge fan of, and his sometimes producer T-Bone Burnett. Unfortunately, this one was not good, and just
you didn't like it. I didn't listen to this.
It just seemed like a joke taken way too far. Apparently, it's connected to some podcast or something, and it's a concept album, and yada yada yada. Hopefully they had fun. It didn't really have much material that I could latch on to, unfortunately. And I'm always hungry for new Elvis Costello, so it was a big disappointment. As far as other albums of high quality that from Q4, there were a number that and I'll just rattle through this list. I think you covered on your IDP episodes. Okay. So I'll just kind of go through them. We had Mount Misery, Love in Mind on Prefect Records, Class, A Healthy Alternative on Feel It. I'm not sure if you covered that one or not. Humdrum, Every Heaven on Slumberland. We had Thus Love, All Pleasure on Captured Tracks. Mm-hmm. Jim Nothing, album's name is Gray Eyes, Gray Lynn on Meritorio. Sassyhiya, the album Take You Somewhere on Skep. We had Chimers, Through Today is what the album was called. And that's out on Poison City. Album by Fazerdaze, called Soft Power, out on Section 1. And then Fight Milk is the band, and the album was No Souvenirs out on Fika Records. Those all were of exceptional quality, I thought.
Yeah, I like all those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like Fazerdaze before?
I was not familiar with Fazerdaze before, but yeah, this one was a nice, pleasant surprise.
It's pretty it's pretty pop, which some people might not like, but I think she's very talented.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan.
All right, so then I had a handful of other ones. Try to go as quick as I can here. Album by Rosie Tucker called Utopia Now, out on Sentimental Records. Actually came out earlier this year, I think in March or May or something like that. I had to check this one out based on its presence in some of the end of the year lists I was seeing some comparisons to other female artists that I enjoy, like Juliana Hatfield or Soccer Mommy. Really dug that one. A bit of a guilty. Rosie Tucker, and Utopia Now is the name of the album. This next one's a bit of a guilty pleasure. The guy's name is Jake Bugg. He's a sort of a Brit pop, singer-songwriter, obviously British. He writes better songs than he should be allowed to write. And every release I check it out, and there's just a ton of good tracks on it. I did enjoy his new album, A Modern Day Distraction, out on RCA Records. I dug the new Hard Quartet record. It took me a little bit. Took me a few listens to get into it, but their self-titled release out on Matador Records. This, of course, is the sort of indie pop supergroup with a number of people, including Stephen Malkmus, and I forget who the other ones were, but great album, good stuff, multiple singers, and it's not just Stephen Malkmus. New album by Peter Bruntinel, called Houdini and the Sucker Punch out on Domestico Records. Another great album from him. I've been following him since the early 2000s. He's a British Americana artist, singer-songwriter. Just great stuff from him. New album by Sharp Pins called Mod Mayday 23. This was a self-release by Sharp Pins, I think the second of this year. It's the lead singer of Lifehouse. Was it Lifehouse? I know we did a 2x2.
Yeah, now that
Lifehouse
you said that,
is
I'm
a
not
crappy
gonna be able
90s band. What was the band called? Hold on.
Anyway, I was gonna, while you're looking, so Sharp Pins had an album that was out in the first half of the year, I think.
They did.
So I think that when I saw a review, I thought it was that one, but there's another one you're saying.
There's another one.
I totally didn't listen to that. So, okay.
Mm-hmm. Lifeguard. Chicago 4-piece.
Yeah.
They're super young. It's the lead singer of that band. Lifehouse is a shitty 90s band, I think. Anyway, we've got the band Skeggs. Pacific Highway Music is the album out on Loma Vista Records. I believe they're an Australian group. Kind of surf-inspired, harder indie pop kind of stuff or indie rock. That was good. I did actually listen to the Elvilda record. I can't even say the name. Deja Hure out on Static Shock that came out a couple months ago and did like it quite a bit, even though there is no English on it. It's all French. It's just
I thought that might turn you off.
Yeah, I know it was still catchy as hell.
Super catchy.
I dig it. Elias Ronenfelt is the singer of the Danish indie rock band Ice Age. He released a decent solo record called Heavy Glory on Esco Records. We had a new one from Laura Marling called Patterns and Repeat out on Partisan Records. She's just a great singer-songwriter that I've followed for years. Really great stuff. Another folky release there. Innocence Mission, their new album called Midwinter Swimmers. Out on Bella Union.
Yeah, I meant to listen to that. You like that one?
Yeah, really good. Really good.
Really? Okay.
And I mean, they've been around since the late 80s, releasing music. It's a husband-wife team. Certainly for a while there, I felt like, wow, another album, but of the same stuff by this group, but they do not disappoint. Really good stuff. Album artist named Du Blonde that I was not familiar with released a new album called Sniff More Gritty out on Damon TV, kind of hard pop rock from a female British artist. Some good stuff there that just came out. And then finally, the new album from Cursive called Devourer on the Run for Cover Records. And just some good classic 2000s indie rock from them. That's my list.
All right, good stuff. I'm glad you got the full list in. So I think that's gonna wrap us up here. I just want to mention we'll be back at the end of the year to do what we did at the end of last year, where we're gonna unveil our top 20 albums to each other, and discuss, and then kind of maybe just discuss a little bit of the year in general, kind of a year in review type thing. So Stay tuned for that if you're if you're interested, if you're a masochist, stay tuned. Yeah, I don't know.
We should probably just end it.